Good morning and welcome to day 10 of your squat challenge. Today is a recovery day. And so today I'm going to be talking to you about how to use something like the foam roller to help, open up those tight muscles. Now, I probably think I heard a collective groan or a little bit of yay. You either love or hate the foam roller, but I'm telling you from personal experience, it does wonders for releasing the fascia and the tension in the muscle that we've created doing these squat challenges. Now, we're doing repetitive movements and you're noticing that, we're going up, coming down a little, and then going back up again. And that's a really important pattern with anything you do, whether, training for a marathon or building muscle or losing weight. You're always going to need to have a time to plateau, to give your body a chance to sort of catch up to the things that you're building on. So allow this day to help you recover, enjoy the plateau, and let your body do what it needs to do to repair the muscle tissue and rebuild so you're feeling stronger going forward. If we don't give ourselves time to do that, the body responds in a negative way by having an injury or feeling extra fatigue or whatever the case may be. So it's really important, and I've learned this as I've matured, to give your body the time it needs to recover. And active recovery is really important. So recovery doesn't mean just like laying on the couch. It means, doing a softer and gentler exercise, like, going for a long walk or doing some light biking on the stationary bike, or some gentle stretching, which is what we're going to do today. So keeping those things in mind, the foam roller, we're going to use it for the top of the quads, the IT band, the glutes, the low back, and a bit of that T-spine as well. Okay, so we want to make sure everything is moving from a place of alignment. So if Leo will allow me, as you can see, he's hanging out. He's doesn't want to be too far from me today. We are going to place the foam roller in front of us, and we're going to start with a standing spine stretch. So I want you to think about placing your hands on the foam roller. And if you don't have a big foam roller like this, that's okay. You can just use the wall or a chair, and we're going to push that foam roller away and lengthen the back out. Now, thinking about your back as like a spine, a wave, we're going to wave the spine and come all the way back up to standing. So you're rolling through it. So give your body time to stretch out, lengthen the legs, so the hamstrings, this might feel really good on those hamstrings. And then bend the knees and roll yourself back up, nice and easy. Okay, let's try one more like that. Third time's the charm, I always say. Reach it out. So you're going to notice here that stretch under the arms and that lengthen the back of the hamstrings. Now let's pull the abdominals in. So you notice that I've arched my back a little bit here. I'm going to pull my abdominals in, bend the knees, tuck the tail, so my core is engaged a little bit to pull myself up to standing. Now let's get into a little bit of that lat. So go ahead and stretch it to one side. Nice deep inhale and exhale there. Come back up. And the other side. I know we're forward moving creatures, but we want to get into those side muscles as well. Those obliques and those lats. One more time each side. And you might find this very nice. And let's do one more. Reach it away. Good. So before we get into sort of the heavy lifting or the heavy releasing, we are going to do a little bit of range of motion. So we're going to place our feet on top of the foam roller and just grab onto those hamstrings so you can roll your back down section by section, lengthening out those abdominals, letting your hands rest, and we're going to do a hip release. So my legs are going to come in to me, knees bent, open the knees out to the side, rotate and pull it back in. So a nice circular motion here, letting those hip flexors release. I'm not using any real muscular energy here. I really want to think about the joints, the hip joint, the knee, the ankle. And now we're going to go in the other direction. So straight out, turn and back in. So whatever direction you went before, just reverse it now. So you're really getting that movement in the hips. And just feeling that connection of the core. Last one like that. Good. Now lengthen those legs out, and we're just going to point and flex the toes, just preparing the body for a little bit more stretch. And then you can utilize that foam roller to roll yourself all the way up or come up however you'd like to. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put it at the top of the hip flexor, and we're going to come into a prone position or a plank position with on your forearms here. And you want to think about lengthening one leg off of the mat, and the other leg that's down, I'm going to kind of turn into that side a little bit more. And then I'm getting right at the top of the quadricep muscle and the hip flexor area. And this might be really tender, so go easy, take some nice deep breaths in and out. Lots of water after this too, to flush the body of that lactic acid or whatever the muscle is releasing. Good. And mine is pretty tight today, I'm not gonna lie. And then let's roll over to side two. So just a small range of motion, the top of the hip. And if this is extremely tough for you, don't worry, it gets easier. But it is an indication that you are needing to stretch more, you are needing to release those muscles. So again, just up and down the top of that hip flexor to the top of your quad. Good, now let's make the range of motion bigger. So I'm going to widen through my arms, lift my legs up, pull my abdominals in, and I'm going to roll myself up and down the quads. Now I'm going to change the shape of my legs by internally rotating my feet, bringing them closer together, and then externally rotating my feet. That's getting different angles of the quadricep muscle, which feels, I'm not gonna lie, a little tender today, but also really, really good. And let's try one more. Good, and then we're gonna come all the way back. Let your feet touch down, come into a nice little child's pose, lengthen those arms. And from there, take a nice deep breath in, and then slowly come up. Now let's go to the back of the glutes. So we did the front, we're gonna go into the backs now. So have a seat right on top of your foam roller. And we're just gonna let the knees come to one side. Now, I've got my hand behind me for support, and I'm gonna roll up and down the back pocket of my glute and the side of my glute med here. Now this position might be enough, but if you wanted to add a little bit, you could take that outside leg, place it on top, like a figure four almost, and then use the foot that's down and the hand that's behind you to dictate how much pressure you're putting on that glute. And if you find a spot that's really tight, don't be afraid to just stay there. And I'm going down and up that glute as much as I can, breathing into it and trying to relax my body. You'll notice that you're holding tension, because your muscle's tight, it feels a little uncomfortable. So really go into your breathing. Now try the other side, same thing. I'm gonna place my leg on top. This one isn't as tight, but still it's really benefiting from the stretch here. Now, as you do this back and forth, again, remembering to stay in a space in the muscle that feels tight, you can just hold it there and make your movements even smaller. And just give yourself time to really lengthen out. Good, now once you've done both of those sides of your glute, let's come back up. Place your hands behind you, and we're gonna roll from the bottom of the glute to the hamstring. So just let yourself roll back and forth, folding your hips behind you, and then lengthening straight out and front. And that requires a bit of upper body strength. There is another way of doing it with one foot on the ground that it can also be helpful for you as well. Now, believe it or not, your calves, if they're really tight, you're probably using more calf muscles than you realize. There's two parts to it. Your soleus, which is sort of deeper underneath, and then your gastrocnemius on top. And we're going to try rolling that out. So let's put it below the knee so you're not hurting your joint. And again, you can do this one leg at a time and just roll that calf, turn it in and turn it out. So you're getting both the inside and the outside. Whew, that's really tight on me today. And I know it's going to feel really good when I'm done. Good. And then try side two, same thing. Now you can do this a little longer than, you know, what I'm doing with you. If you want to stay there longer, go for it. These are just some ones that I'm going to go through with you to make sure you know how to do it and what you're feeling. Good. And then come on back to center. Okay. So now we're going to take this behind us and put it across our back. So we're going to do a little hip sway, and we want to also work through that mid back. So let's do the hip sway first. We're going to roll to one side, turn completely onto your side. So you're getting into that serratus anterior, those muscles underneath your armpit, and then up and over to the other side. Rolling across that mid back, right underneath your shoulder blades. And let's do one more roll across that foam roller and come on back to center. And now pushing into your feet, we're going to lift those hips up nice and high and roll it back and forth. Now, if you don't have a foam roller at home, I highly recommend you get one, borrow one from a friend or whatever. But once you have one of these, it's a godsend. You'll use it more than you know. And just rolling that upper middle back. Again, if there's any tight spots in your back, because believe it or not, when you're doing squats, you are using a lot more muscular energy than we think. Let your hips come down, lengthen your arms up, and then just roll yourself forward, giving your spine a nice little stretch. And if you're particularly tight through that stretch, you can lengthen yourself so you're sitting up nice and tall and point those toes up, and you'll get a bit more out of that stretch. All right, let's move on to our IT band. So I'm going to sit side saddle, and my femur from the top of my hip to my knee is on the foam roller. And we're just going to take the other leg over top, and we're going to start with a little spine twist. So grab onto that top knee and reach behind, grab that foam roller and rotate over that shoulder. Just a gentle rotation, trying to sit nice and tall. You're going to feel that stretch through the glute. And in a second, we're going to lengthen this bottom leg IT band. Good. And then slowly release that stretch. Come on back. So that leg's going to come in front, and I'm going to extend my bottom leg underneath me. So I'm going to use my hands and my leg to support me as I roll up and down the outer thigh. So again, this is going to help dictate how much pressure I'm putting on that leg. If you can handle a little bit more, lengthen your legs. And I know some of you are groaning on this one. And then see if you can go down that IT band a little bit more. Good. And then come on back to center, and let's try the other side. So starting with that nice rotational stretch, we're going to bring that leg across, pull that knee in towards your chest, sitting it nice and tall, reach around, grab the back of your foam roller if you can. Take a breath in, find a little bit of extra height, head reaching towards the ceiling, so you're not flexed and you're able to take a nice deep breath in and out. Good. Now let's go into the IT band on this side. So that first side was pretty intense. And let's see how this side is. Oh, not as bad. So I'm going to lengthen both legs out. Again, this might be too much. So just go with what your body is allowing you to do. This is definitely as beneficial, if not more so, than lengthening both legs. Good. And, you know, try to go 5 to 8 times up and down that muscle. Just gives it a chance to really let go. Good. And then once you're done that, we're going to take the foam roller in front of us, and we're going to come down into a side lying position. So now we're going to stretch into that inner thigh, that adductor. So I'm going to put my knee to ankle bone on top of the foam roller, have them lie down on your side lying position. And now the foam roller is going to come up into that inner thigh. Now, some of you, this might be enough, but if you feel like you can go a little further, come all the way into your plank position and let that knee open up even more. So you're getting all the way up into that inner thigh, right into the groin, helping it to release. And don't forget your breathing. And then we're going to come all the way back, nice and easy. Let's keep that leg there. We're going to open up our T-spine. So arms going to reach up towards the ceiling. Oops. Give yourself a little bit more room than that. And you don't have to go completely behind yourself, but you just want to open that arm up and then over. While you're doing that, try to keep your knee anchored on that foam roller. And let's do one more. Let's hold it here for a couple of breaths. As you inhale and exhale, I'm thinking about keeping that knee as close to the foam roller as I can. And then when you're ready, bring that arm all the way back up and over to your foam roller. Good. Okay, let's switch sides. So same thing, going into that inner thigh, placing your leg right on top there. And just kind of start slow, start with a little bit easier movement. And then once your body is ready, take it all the way up and over into that inner thigh. And this one feels quite a bit tighter than the other side. And remember, your upper body is helping you stabilize as you do this. And when you're ready to come out of it, take your time coming back down, and let's do that rotation. Open the chest and bring it back. Exhale. Movement is so good for your body that the more we do it, the better we feel. Last one. But there are many aspects to moving and moving well. So stretching and strengthening go hand in hand. Making sure you're doing both is really going to help you feel the best in your body. Okay, so now we're going to take that foam roller as a little lift up to that instep of your foot. And then just tuck that tailbone under so you feel that nice length through the front of that thigh. It should feel like you've got a bit more length there. And then when you're ready, take it forward into a little more of the psoas stretch. You can lift the knee and go back and forth a couple times if that feels good. Lengthening the muscle even more. And then let's take that toe back down. I'm going to just anchor the toe to the foam roller and then sit my hips back. So I'm lengthening up nice and tall and then hinge forward till you feel that stretch in your hamstrings. Now you can be up here and still feel that stretch, and that's totally fine. Go to where your body needs to go. Don't necessarily push yourself too far into the stretch. That's also not great. Good. And then when you're ready to switch sides, come on up, bring the leg back, curl the toe under, tuck your tailbone. You're going to feel that length through the front of that quad. Even lifting up your arm can get into that, inter-abdominal area. So you're getting the stretch through there as well. Good. And now take a second here to open it up. Maybe lift that leg, pulling it in and out. Make sure your knee is nice and stable. I place my hand on the outside of the knee so it doesn't wing out. And I keep that tracking right. And then taking the knee down, let's bring those hips back. Good. Now you're going to feel the hamstring on this stretch. And again, if you're up here, that's totally fine. Be where you need to be for that stretch. This feels a little bit better for me today. Sometimes I'm up here too. And then when you're ready to come out of it, slowly and steadily come on. Now let's do that nice strong stretch that we did at the beginning for the spine, seeing if we're a little bit longer. So take a breath in, tailbone back, head comes between the arms, maybe sway back and forth, should feel nice and easy, and then roll your spine up. That felt a little bit less tight. Now let's do one final thing. Use the foam roller to support your body, and we're just gonna let the legs swing, open and close. Should feel like you've got some good movement going on there now. And then switch over to the second side. Same thing, just let that leg swing back and forth. You can turn the toe out a bit if that feels good. Good, and shake it out. And you are done, your little foam roller stretch. Feel free to come back to this. And if you have any questions or concerns about your stretching or about ways to make it a little more efficient, please feel free to reach out. That's what I'm here for. The challenge is to help you grow and get stronger, and the stretching is really an important ingredient into that. So thanks for joining me today on day 10. Happy squatting the rest of the week, and I'll see you on day 15.